Hello my friends, and welcome to the channel for your crash course in how to become the veteran sharpshooter the Inquisition expects you to be. I've been playing quite a lot of Darktide since the character overhaul update, and while I see plenty of people having their takes about the veteran feeling like a weak class in comparison to the bonkers power curve of builds like the Assail Psyker, I've got to disagree, because I've honestly had more success running Auric level missions as a veteran than with the other classes I've been playing. The veteran isn't as fancy as a psyker with their magic, they can't be as tanky as an Ogryn, and they can't really dish out the same psycho mode instantaneous burst damage as a zealot against bosses. But the sharpshooter brings a level of consistency, accuracy, and on-demand precision firepower that makes it perfect for players with good positioning and aim. The build that I've been running is a rapid-fire critical hit setup that stacks crit chance on ranged attacks, and uses the Shock Trooper talent, which makes critical hits with Lasguns not consume any ammo. With this talent, a decent crit chance, and the Mark 6D Lasgun, which fires extremely fast, you effectively become a bullet hose that can fire up to 200 or 300 shots without reloading, with a low recoil, easy to control weapon that makes it very easy to constantly hit your headshots. To start this build off, we'll take a quick look at the talent tree that I've set up for this build, and right here at the start of this section, I'll leave up a complete picture of the talent tree, so if you just want to screenshot it now and get back to the game, here you go. For my first 3 levels, I'm taking Close Order Drill to get some extra damage reduction, Demolition Team for the chance at getting free grenades, and the Crack Grenade as my upgraded Blitz ability. Personally, I like the Crack Grenade quite a lot as it gives you an instant problem solver against any large armored enemies like Bulwarks, Crushers, and Reapers, since the grenade sticks to them and instantly eliminates them. It's also quite good against monstrosities as well, and you have multiple ways to replenish this grenade so you get a lot of uses out of it. Next, I go down the right side of the talent tree, taking Vanguard for a speed increase, but more importantly, I'm taking Tactical Reload and Exploit Weakness. Tactical Reload is great with this build since you're almost never going to fully empty your magazine and you're just going to get that 20% reload speed boost all the time. Exploit Weakness is very important on this build, reducing enemy armor by 2.5% for each crit against them, up to a maximum of around 40% rending at 16 stacks. Since this is a crit focused build that uses a very fast firing weapon, those stacks add up fast and they help a lot against enemies with armored helmets. Moving down the talent tree, I start to go down the left hand path for the next levels, taking the health boost, range damage boost, and catch a breath for some extra toughness regeneration. Then I take the Survivalist Aura, which replenishes 1% ammo for you and any allies each and every time the team takes down an elite or specialist enemy. 1% might not sound like much, but when you're clearing rooms on high levels with upwards of 20 or 30 or more specialist enemies, that's 20 to 30% of your ammo back, and you absolutely need every single bullet you can possibly scavenge as the veteran. After the Aura, first, I prioritize going down the left-hand path of the talent tree, taking Opening Salvo to increase crit chance after a fresh reload, and then Executioner Stance as my combat ability. I really like Voice of Command, and I have a support build based around that one, but for a consistent damage per second build, Executioner Stance is kind of hard to beat. For the modifier, I definitely take Relentless, which adds 5 seconds onto Executioner Stance for each elite or specialist takedown. This means that as long as you focus on nailing all of the highlighted enemies on your screen, you can make this skill last as long as you want. Moving on from the ability, I'm pushing farther down the left-hand talent tree. First with double range damage boost, which is quite nice, and then the Deadshot talent, which gives you a massive 25% crit chance as long as you're aiming down the sights of your las rifle. With this perk alone, at least 1 out of every 4 shots you fire will be a crit as long as you're aiming. Combine this with all the other crit bonuses, and it's more like 1 out of every 2 shots is a crit. Next up, there's a toughness damage reduction talent, and then arguably the most important talent for this entire build, Shock Trooper. This talent makes critical hits with las weapons consume no ammo. So this, combined with all of our critical hit chance, means that basically every second or third shot just doesn't take ammo. This perk makes the Mark 6D las rifle feel like it has a bottomless magazine, and radically increases your damage per second. the amount of enemies you can take out with a single mag, and the total shots you can fire in a single mission without running out of ammo. I would prioritize your leveling to get this perk as soon as possible if you're on a new character and not just respecking a level 30 veteran that you already had. Next up, we have another set of perks that are pretty important for tying this whole thing together and adding some sustainability to our character. When I was leveling, I took these perks right after getting the Shock Trooper talent. First up, take the stamina boost so you can get access to the center of the talent tree, and then take Tactical Awareness and bring it down. Tactical Awareness reduces your ability cooldown after every specialist kill, which often stacks up to fully refresh your cooldown quite quickly. Bring It Down is just a great flat damage boost against any Ogryn or monstrosity, which is just really helpful, especially on higher difficulties. After this, you have a health and toughness boost on this talent tree, and then finally the Confirmed Kill talent, which is maybe one of the best talents in the whole veteran tree. This gives you back 25% toughness for every elite or specialist enemy you take out, and then another 25% over the next 10 seconds. This means that you can tank a lot of damage as long as you are consistently taking out specialist or elite enemies. So when the entire room gets overrun by gunners, you don't have to run away and find cover. You can just pop Executioner stance and mow through the entire room, healing up each time you get a takedown. After this talent, the rest of my points get spent on some utility upgrades a bit further back up the talent tree, right before the combat ability talents. Call me crazy, but I'm not actually taking any of the keystones for the veteran because none of them really seem important enough to spend another 3 or 4 points just to get down to them on the tree. I'd rather take these utility upgrades. First, I take the toughness damage reduction and crit chance boost to gain access to all 3 sides of the talent tree here. And then I take Demolition Stockpile, which regenerates grenades every 60 seconds, and then Grenadier, which lets you carry 1 extra grenade. These 2 talents combined just allow you to spam your grenades basically infinitely. So literally every time you see an armored enemy or a monstrosity, you should have some crack grenades to stick to them and blow them up for a lot of easy burst damage. Finally, the last talent I took in my build was Field Improvisation. You can feel free to use this point somewhere else if you prefer, but personally I think this is an excellent supportive talent for the veteran that helps you and your entire team. This doubles the speed that med packs heal and allows them to heal corruption off of you and other players. So when the whole team gets ass blasted by a couple of pox bursters, you can just drop a med kit and heal off that corruption. You also restore grenades when using ammo packs with this talent. This also covers med kits and ammo crates that your teammates use as well, so it's just very useful for everybody in my opinion. Alright, so now that I've covered the talent tree for this build, I just want to quickly talk about the gear that I'm running. First up, my main weapon of choice is the Akatran Mark 6D Recon Lasgun. This particular model of Lasgun sacrifices raw single hit damage for an insanely high fire rate and a larger effective magazine size since each shot only uses 1 ammo instead of 2 or 3 like some other models. Because it fires so fast, I find it very nice for the crit build. If you're just fishing for as many crits as possible to stack damage and synergize with Shock Trooper, then firing faster means more chances to crit more often. This build also wants to get stacks of rending from critical hits, so hitting more shots faster means more stacks faster. And speaking of stacks, you want to make sure you get the Infernus Blessing on your Lasgun, because this also stacks burning damage on your targets after a critical hit. So not only do you quickly stack up armor penetration after crits and get free ammo after crits, but you also burn anything that you critical hit against, which just piles up extra damage like crazy. For my second blessing, I've been running Sustained Fire, which gives 20% extra damage to the 3rd and 4th shots of every burst. So with this one, if you fire in short bursts of 4 to 5 rounds instead of just holding down the trigger, you're just stacking up free damage on 2 of your shots every time. I've also heard some really good things about the heavy las pistol with this same build. It kind of is along the same lines, but instead of firing fast and getting crits a lot, you're firing slower and doing more damage with each crit. But personally, I've just enjoyed this Recon Lasgun way too much. For my melee weapon, I've been mostly using a chainsword since it's just really fast, it has good cleave, and you can activate it to one-shot a lot of annoying melee enemies with the secondary fire. Mostly, I just use this as an emergency tool or to clear out basic hordes when I don't want to waste ammo. For Curios, I don't really know what the meta picks would be, but I try and get extra wounds since the veteran is quite fragile, and then damage reduction against ranged enemies and corruption resistance against poxbursters and stuff like that. Well, that pretty much covers it for this veteran build, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I won't claim that the veteran is the best class in the game or the easiest to play, but personally I found it quite good even on Auric level missions. You're gonna get smashed by melee specialists sometimes, and if you don't focus on positioning, you might have a hard time. But if you can be smart and move with your team, you can put yourself in an amazing position to be able to activate Executioner's stance and just decimate every single specialist and elite in a room without ever needing to reload. And trust me, your teammates are going to love it when you pop Executioner stance and can see every sniper and bomber in the room and just take them out before they're ever even a problem. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of the build if you try it out for yourself. Thanks for watching. I've got links to my Twitch stream and Discord server down below for anyone interested. And until next time, stay safe out there in the Hive City.